Hey, welcome to the Brisbane Small Business Show, or BSB TV, as we like to call it. Today, I've got a couple of really exciting guys. I've got Dylan Webber, I've got Nick. These guys help people sell stuff online all the time. So, who wants to speak first?
You go for it. Yeah, I can do it. My name's Nick, and I run Clever Shops, and essentially what we do is we specialize in e-commerce, and essentially generating online stores for small businesses, and we take them through the whole process. So we found there was a little bit of a gap in the market in terms of people were starting to sell online with their platform, but not really knowing what to do. So we definitely are more service orientated.
But before we get there, Nick, let's find out a little bit about you and find out. So tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into doing this?
Yeah, so I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and basically I've always had an interest in e-commerce, and I've created my own online stores prior to this. I just sort of found that with this there was a little bit of a gap in terms of what was on offer, and I thought it was something which we could look into more.
You see, I'm a little older than you, and I can remember a life before there was even an internet. Okay, so I know that's shocking for a lot of, for yourselves and thinking that that's a bit weird. But did you know the internet really only came into public foray in about 1995?
Wow. And isn't it cool now to think that the internet's
25 years ago? Before then, there was no such thing as, I'll just do a search online. You either found stuff in a newspaper, or you found stuff on the radio or on a TV show, or you went into the shop. That was the only way we could find stuff. So then in 2003, social media came out. So what was the first social media platform?
MySpace? MSN, maybe.
MSN, was it?
Did you know it was actually LinkedIn? LinkedIn came out a year before Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So, but because of the way they set it up, they didn't have as much presence. But these days, of course, we went through MySpace, we went into, then all of a sudden Facebook took over the world. And what a wonderful platform it is that lets us have 10,000 people all together with the same special interest group. And that's really, really cool. But there was a day before that. And this is why all of a sudden it's become so much more important to buy online, because 98% of transactions that occur in the world, people at some stage of that process investigated online, did they want to buy this? Yeah. And so here's where you guys can be really, really cool. So Nick, with your ability to help people set up social stores and all that sort of stuff, Dylan, I know you help people with the videography and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we generate content and social media marketing. So like where I generally get brought into the puzzle piece is the content marketing strategies and the organic traffic, and we do a lot of social media and paid ad campaigns. So we're all about just sending traffic to your new store.
Absolutely. And here's where it's really cool to meet guys like you that this is really natural for, because people like me, it's not so natural.
Yeah.
We're used to touching and feeling stuff before we buy it. And so, and so then quite often when we're trying to set up stores for ourselves, and whether it's for services or whether it's for products, we really don't always get the process involved. Whereas for the two of you, you're in the deep end of this, and you've actually, sorted through the maze that a lot of people are still trying to walk around in circles and not really sure what to do, right? So that's where it's beautiful that we do that. And you guys have come up with 5 simple steps to help people understand how they can cut through the noise and get to a sale in as short a possible time.
Yep. So I'll kick it off. Do you want me to get straight into it, Kev? Or?
Yeah.
So I think the start of anything when it comes to what we do, and that's in videography, content creation, social media marketing, and even stepping back into traditional campaigns, TV, radio, billboards, press, jingles, whatever it is, the very first step in any marketing campaign needs to be identifying your customer audience, your target audience, your ideal customer, who you want to be shopping in your store. And the reason for that is a lot of people we meet initially, they say it's everybody. But then when you actually start thinking about it in more detail, you spend a couple of hours actually trying to think about who am I selling to, and maybe if I look at the last 90 days who I've sold to, is there some patterns there that people start matching similar demographics? And you can really start breaking down those target audiences, and that just changes the whole game. It changes what sort of headlines you use, what sort of copy you write, the sort of music you might use in videos, and the type of actors and actresses that you might use in the videos to match that target audience. So it's so important in anything, your first step, identifying your target audiences. Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be an age demographic or anything like that. Hey, it could be that they just have a common special interest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Job title, anything like that. Yeah. It could be, like, for example, with Facebook, it could be based on how long they've been in a relationship, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. We ran a campaign recently for a florist who was targeting weddings, and we were able to target, people who are just engaged in the last 3 months, 6 months, and you leave age out of it because people can get engaged at 46, 18, 21. So age is irrelevant, you're right, but specific interests, actions, all that, very targetable.
What's going to be, and the important point there is, what's going to be the trigger that's going to have people emotionally connected to your business, yeah?
Yes, I think, and that's where video has been playing a huge role in the last 5 years, is the ability to listen, to see, and to do it all in your own time. So no longer now do I need to be such a good salesman with someone. Every time you're talking to them, I can do a video about something, make it emotive, connect with someone on a deeper level, and they could be watching that at 6 a.m. in the morning, 10 p.m. at night, whenever it suits them, so that we've opened up this massive flexibility now with video on social media, that you can be engaging and selling to people when 3 in the morning and they can't sleep. So it's fantastic.
Absolutely, and that's really cool because, as you just said, people have different patterns and all that sort of stuff. These days, so many more people are, hardly watching any live TV, where they are beholden to the TV station, and they're watching everything. They're streaming absolutely everything, and consuming a lot of their media that way. So the first point, know your target and understand why they're your target so that you can get that emotional connection. That is really, really cool, guys. The second point?
Yeah, so in terms of the second point, it's so following on from what Dylan was talking about in terms of knowing your target market, it's also identifying where they're going to view their information and that sort of thing. So obviously being online and actually making sure you do have that online presence is really important now. And then I guess that's it's something which you can grow, but at the start, I think it's really important to just make sure that you as a business are up online, whether or not that's on Facebook, whether you've got a website or you're actually selling your product directly through an online store, and incorporating things like video and changing it up and just sort of seeing and testing the waters in terms of what works best, especially early on. And then you can sort of hone in on that and start to, put a lot more weight behind whichever avenue you think is doing the best for you.
Absolutely, but quite often all of these different things work like in conjunction with each other, and it's like, rather than just going, I'm only going to advertise in one platform or whatever, all the different platforms, even all the different platforms, different versions of online, like using Facebook will actually help your SEO when you do it properly, and so on and so forth. So it's rather than just having the one thing, thinking about what is the right mix. So you've got to be online and you've got to be everywhere and you've got to be engaging. Yeah. Otherwise, if you're really boring, like Frank Walker from National, I talk about him way too much, but Frank Walker from National Tiles, right? That's not his voice. That's the thing that I find the funniest.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know that actually.
Natural voice. Now, we all know him because of so many bloody radio ads over such a long period of time. But if he was just there once, none of us would know him.
No, exactly right. He's so consistent, so frequent. I think when I worked in television, I started in news and moved into TV production and then moved into sort of selling TV to people. We talk about like TARPs and target audience reach points and frequency and spots and that kind of thing. And reach is totally, it's awesome to be in the football once, for example, working for Channel 9, that put someone in the state of origin or a Broncos Cowboys game. But like the people that invested more and had 5 spots across one football match definitely saw better ROI, even though they were spending more initially, just the reach points. And I think the number now is between 18 and 22 touch points you need to have with the customer before they feel comfortable enough to pick up a phone or send your page a message.
Yeah, and look, you're probably more spot on than me. I can remember reading a thing about Google doing some research, but this is dated now, and they were saying between 14 and 30 back then. So
Yeah.
we're going back 2 or 3 years. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's blown out to being higher.
Yeah.
I was saying,
Just how quick the information's coming at us. And that's why I've changed my whole business model. I used to be the guy that would charge, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a video. I just realized how quick social media moves now. Businesses just can't afford to be paying that per video or for a photo shoot or whatever. So we changed our whole model to be more about how can we get the most out of the time. A shoot, for example, a 2-hour window to give you, 10, 15 videos that you can use over that month to be consistent and be frequent. And how can we do that month to month without breaking your budget? So that's why I changed it. Just exactly what you said. Facebook just moves so quickly.
And it doesn't mean that you have to have, as you said, you've got a really cool plan where you create a lot of videos, but you could have a small number of really cool videos.
Yeah.
That you can reuse again and again and again. I joke to a lot of my clients about the fact that, if you had half a dozen different pieces and you were sharing them in different mediums and doing that 2 to 3 times a week, you could probably last for 3 to 6 months with just 6 pieces, because we consume so much social media that it's easy to miss it.
Yeah.
Right. But even if we're consuming the same thing and then 3 weeks later we're back and we find the same thing again, it's probably going to take us 3/4 of the video to work out that we've already watched this video.
Yeah.
So,
that's exactly it.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's a great point.
I know with Melissa and I, we sit down when we eventually pick a movie and we'll be 5 minutes into it and go, I think we've seen this before.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not the only ones. So, and that's the third point. It really is that frequency and consistency, yeah?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Punching it out. And it's hard, right? Like, it's not, if it was easy, everybody would do it. I think it's one of those things, it's time consuming and it's difficult. But as you know, with what you're doing, Kevin, like, it's so worth it, isn't it? Like, when you look back at the end of the week at just the amount of content you've put out in the week gone past and what it's doing for you, it's not a thing that you notice overnight. But
Absolutely.
you can't just post one thing, because then that's when it does get missed.
Yeah, and like Frank Walker, don't be scared to share the same content. Don't be scared to repeat that or to have a tagline that people can start remembering. His tagline just happens to be his name. The fourth point, what was that fourth point? Now, Nick, you were talking about something that was really important.
Yeah, so I think in terms of just sort of following on from that, if you are online and you are wanting to sell online, then it's all about simplicity. I think people, when they are creating an online store or a website, they might try and overcomplicate it. And in this day and age where there's so much information coming at you left, right, and center, you don't want to overcomplicate for your clients and your customers. So you want to simplify the process essentially for them through the checkout. So essentially what you're wanting to do is get them from when they first see your product through to the checkout as quickly as possible. And I think simplicity is the absolute key with that, not having too many distractions and just sort of facilitating the checkout process as easily as possible.
Absolutely. So the more you can shorten that distance between that initial engagement and where people are going to buy, the more successful you're going to be.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think it's very important, and more than ever now. If you go on any sort of website, there's always things popping up and you can get distracted, and people's attention spans are decreasing more and more with everything that's available out there.
I know, it really is hard. The other point that you were also talking about was don't be scared to mix up a mixture of, yes, paid reach, we got to do some of that, but also that organic reach and making sure that your organic reach is strong.
Yeah, exactly. And like, as you said, I guess it's a combination and finding the right mix. And yeah, organic reach you can definitely do in line with any sort of paid search or anything like that. And it's, I guess you can look at it for the long term, whereas like paid search can often be for the short term. So any sort of organic SEO development and finding people in your industry or people selling your product or service, finding them, reaching out to them and just sort of, I guess, increasing that, building on that network is really important. So you make people aware of what you're doing.
Have you guys heard of answerthepublic.com?
What was that, sorry?
Have you heard of answerthepublic.com? So I recommend anyone watching and moving forward. It's a website that's collated a whole heap of search data based on what people are searching. You type in a keyword on Answer the Public. So, for example, for me, it might be video production. There might be mortgage brokers out there that can type in the word mortgage broker, business coach, whatever the word is that is a keyword that's meaningful to what your business does, really. And it will collate from all the search engines what people are actually searching for. And it's so surprising what people are typing into Google versus being in the industry. I would think someone looking for a video might type in, I need a videographer in Brisbane, or I need a video made for customer testimonial, because they're the words I'm using every day. But people type in words like, I need a video presentation to tell a case study. And it's so different to what I would have thought the keywords would have been. But where I was going with this is you can punch in your industry or the product you're selling or what you're doing into Answer the Public, and this is for everybody out there. And for free, it'll give you a list of all the questions that people are asking about that particular topic. And there you go. You've created a 3 or 4 month content strategy just by talking about these videos based on the questions people are asking already. So if we use mortgage broking as an example, people punch in mortgage broker to the industry. There could be a question that someone's asked saying, what's the difference between a mortgage broker and a bank? There's a content piece of video that you can get your phone out and record yourself answering, well, the difference between a bank and a mortgage broker is this, for example. And there's millions and millions and millions of examples that I could give, but yeah, that was the relevant one for me recently.
No, absolutely. And you know, and buying your first home and a whole lot of other different things that you'd be thinking about. And all of a sudden, so Answer the Public.
Answerthepublic.com, that's it.
That's a great website.
Pop it in the comments so people can check it out, because it's the most helpful tool. If you just think, I've got nothing to talk about, I haven't got anything, you punch in that, it'll give you a million things that you can all of a sudden answer questions that people are already asking Google about that particular industry. So, and it's fantastic. You pop them on YouTube and there's your SEO strategy sorted.
And that's a much smarter thing than trying to think about, I wonder what people are asking. So yeah, absolutely. Answer the Public. So basically that is a fantastic tip right there. Now you guys have different strategies and different price points depending on people's current expertise and all that sort of stuff to help people make it as simple as for them as you can to help them sell their products and services online. Yeah.
Yeah. We've built a way for Nick and I to work together through Clever Shops and Video Domain, basically to help people not only get online and start selling their products online, but also start generating some traffic through social media, SEO and that kind of thing. And let's start sending traffic to that store, because I think a lot of people out there, they'll create the store and then wait for people to come, but that's not how online works. You need to be driving traffic to the store.
I've said for a long, long time, Field of Dreams is a big fat lie. If you build it,
they don't come. Yeah, that's right. So, but and you know, we've developed a range of packages based on if people have a certain amount of products, or if they need a certain amount of videos, sending people back based on how many months they'd like to engage us for, and that kind of thing. All sorts of we call it. So we've got Clever Shops, and we also call it Clever Marketing, which is a branch where we can start sending the traffic back through to that shop. And it's going to be, totally dependent on their goals, I guess. And that's the one thing we're really big on is why are we even talking right now? What are the goals that we want to sort out? How are we going to achieve those? And once we're very clear on that and very clear on the target audience, the package generally begins to build out itself, tailored to that person. So.
Absolutely. Now, and that's really cool, because over the last 3 months or so, people have been, they've migrated from offices to working at home, but also that a lot of people have migrated their business to being have a much higher presence online. And here's a way where you can accelerate that particular process, which does fit into the different grants that are coming around that are around at the moment. I know that you and I have also talked about our BSB grants that are coming up in July, and we'll have another chat about that closer to that, or when we're into that. but you've got a number of different packages that will fit into that adaptive grant. But even if you don't qualify for the adaptive grant, if you're trying to get your business online, you want to take the shortcut. You don't want to be doing that over the next 2 years, because even by the time you've caught up, you haven't caught up because people have moved forward. So it really is that situation. So the 5 key points of if you're going to work, if you want to do more business online is 1, know your target, be online, be where they are, and make sure that you're being engaging. 3, it is about consistency and learn from Frank Walker from National Tiles and be regular and there. Make sure that you're mixing organic and paid reach. So you do need to test in your organic to see if you're getting that engagement before you then send it out and invest money in that. And then 5, simplify the process and design to shorten the distance between that engagement and when people can, and making it easier for people to buy your stuff. Have I got those points right?
Yeah, you do really well.
Fantastic. Look, thanks. I did read them as I wrote them.
Yeah.
As we we're going through. But look, thanks very much for your time today. I'm going to get you guys to put information on Clever Shop and yourself into the comments here. But also, if you've got a cheat sheet that helps people at different stages of that, throw them in the comments, and we'll talk about how you can do this regularly.
We didn't talk about this earlier, but I might pop in the comments as well. I've put together a video domain ebook, which gives people what sort of videos and what type of content they should be posting dependent on where someone is in that path to purchase. So we call the path to purchase awareness, consideration, and conversion. Awareness, they become aware that they've got a problem, and then they become aware that you can solve the problem. Consideration is they start hunting for people who can solve that problem for them. This is they're shopping around, and then conversions when they make a sale. So there's different types of videos people can post along that journey that will match up with where someone's at in their buying journey. And you can get it catastrophically wrong by posting a call to action to someone who's in the awareness stage, or posting awareness videos for way too long when you could now start talking to those people with consideration and conversion messages. So I'll pop that in the comments as well for people to download.
Absolutely. Love you to do that. That would be fantastic. Thanks for your time and helping people out today, guys.
No, awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Kevin.